Hello, this is a short talk that Leanne gave on improving your soil. Basically, what is soil? It's made up of particles, air, water, organic materials, and plants need it to grow. Basically, a lot of the soil we have is sand, silt, and clay. If you've got good soil, you've got a lot of organic material broken down into it as well, and the better the soil, the better your plants are going to grow. Soil textures hold together. It depends on how much the material is breaking down. The nutrients come from these organic material when it's broken down. There's basically a couple of reasons we check to test the soil to see what it's going to grow, what properties it's got, whether it needs extra manure or extra fertilizer or extra material to balance the pH. pH determines or decides which plants you can probably grow. There's a lot more detailed information that you can get to do with a professional tester, but this is just a simple, quick summary so you can actually get a feel of what's going on. They should be able to get all the soil from, all the nutrients from the soil, but if it's too alkaline or too acidic, things won't grow. And then you need to use some materials to balance the pH. The pH tests can be done very easily. All the nursery and hardware stores have got a simple pH test like this, about $15, but it does do 1,000 times, 100 times, so that should be enough. It's very simple, which is quite handy. All you do is basically get a sample of soil, put it on a piece of white paper, because it's easy to see the change of colour in. Spread the soil out a bit, put the indicator onto the soil, then dust it with the white powder, and see what the colour is. This one obviously looks slightly green, limey green. Each colour tells you which pH you want. Basically, a pH should be between 6 and 7 to grow plants. The pH comes with a scale, and it tells you how acidic or basic or alkaline your soil is. And water is 7. Anything above 4 to 8 or 4 to 9 isn't going to grow much because it's going to be too acidic or too alkaline. Now, in more difficult times, if it's too much, you can actually add powdered sulphur, it's often called iron sulphate. It should change your pH in a few months. Now, if your soil is, however, too low, too acidic, you need to add lime or dolomite. This, again, comes from many of the major nurseries, hardware stores. Poultry manure, smells, works just as well. Now, what type of soil do you have? The picture there shows the different sorts of soil. You probably want a bit more loamy soil. It's got a bit of content in it. Sand will grow some things, but very few. Clay will also grow very few because it's too hard to break up. Now, this is a very simple test, which you can do at home. Carno bottles or anything, basically. Get a bottle that's got a decent lid on it. Fill the jar half full with soil from where you collected. If the soil is rough, break it down first. Fill the rest of the jar with water and just let it settle. And then mark each level on that. And there's 3, just if you look at the first one, front yard, there's 3 very distinct levels on that. And it's pretty much the same for most of the house. Now, to get it, you need to calculate the percentage of each of those main components: sand, silt, and clay. And they will be in a particular order. Get the first mark up, then the second and the third. The first one is basically the sand component, which will settle at the bottom because it's heavier. Then the silt, which will come in second, and then you'll get a bit more of the clay at top level. There's a very good detailed video on YouTube on how to do that. But it is basically simply a matter of percentages. And then we look for a rough classification. If you've got a lot of clay, then it's clay. If you've got too much silt, then you need to work on how you can add something extra to it. If there's a lot of sand, it's going to be classified that simply as a sandy soil. Now, this is a far more detailed list, far more detailed. If you want to work out, say, you're 15% of this, 30% of this one, or 50% of this one, and 20% of that one, you can line up where they all line up, and it will be sandy clay loam, although most around our way is sandy loam. When you know what it is, then you can start working on what you need to do to the soil to make it grow better. These are some books from the library which will give you a bit more information on it. I assume that the Eastern and the Knox libraries also have this in material, and they do give you an idea on particular remedies. A lot of YouTube on it. Basically, there's a lot of interest in getting the soil right first. If the soil is right, then actually it starts to work a lot better. Thanks.